This is super great. It's April 27th. 2 days ago, it was in the 70s. Today, it is somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 degrees, and it's been snowing for about 30 minutes now. See the visibility across the road? It is accumulating. This is a bunch of crap. Just look at it. Back Mechanic Man DIY, the do-it-yourself YouTube channel. We are doing some work on the 91 3rd Gen Camaro, and the main goal of what we're trying to accomplish is we're going to get our 5.3 Chevy truck engine block in the car. As you can see behind me, the engine is already in the car. We did it last night. The main purpose was to get the motor in the car. We wanted to do a mock-up, see how it was going to mate to the transmission, what sort of clearances we had. At this point, we have bought no parts for our swap kit, which is fine. We still got it in there. Wanted to see oil pan clearances, see where the motor mounts are going to line up, maybe even put some accessories on it to see where our belts, hoses, all that stuff is going to line up. You know, this is doing a little bit of work beforehand so that we can hopefully save us some time in the end. Now, we already found some clearance issues, some things we're going to need to address with our truck engine. So let's get to it. Let's get to work. Back on real quick and loosely just to get an idea of what we're going to be working with. Like I said, we don't have motor mounts. Actually, that pry bar's in there kind of just holding the motor square right now. It is resting on the cross members, so when we do get our motor mounts, we have to take into account that this motor is going to be sitting a little bit higher. Hopefully not a whole lot higher, but even if we can gain 1/4 of an inch, I think that's all we're going to need. One thing I noticed right away is we're really close to the steering assembly right here, and it's not actually touching, but it's really close. And something we're going to have to pay attention to is that when the steering goes back and forth, we got to make sure that these knuckles aren't going to hit our oil pan. But hopefully when we get the correct motor mounts in there, we'll get all the clearances we need, and we should be perfect. It is mated to the transmission. I got, I think, 4 out of 5 or 6 bolts in the bell housing on that Turbo 400. Everything slid together really nicely. We got plenty of room back in there. You know, that's going to come up a little bit. We got one of our helpers in there being super productive. There's the other one. But anyways, it's actually looking pretty good. You know, this engine block isn't a whole lot different than the small block 350 that we took out, so I'm really not surprised at how well it fit. The oil pan was about the right orientation. It is sitting pretty low, but again, it should come up with the correct motor mounts on there. Once we get the motor mounts in, it's probably the next thing we're going to buy. Then we can get kind of mock up, see where our exhaust is going to line up. And I'll probably wait to put some of the accessories on because it looks like we're going to have tons of room to work with all that. The main issue that I noticed, and I probably should have seen this coming, is there's that truck intake on there. Obviously, that's just not going to work. That is sitting way too high, even with a 4-inch cowl hood. It's not going to clear. We could take this cover off, but then we're going to be left with that ugly truck intake. And so obviously that's not going to work. We may need to look into an aftermarket intake manifold, or possibly one off of a later LS motor. I don't even know all the LS brands, but I know you can get one like off a Camaro or something like that, a factory option that we could bolt right up to this 5.3. So if you have any ideas or know of what sort of car engine I should be looking for, be sure and leave it down in the comments. Different options, things we can do for an intake, because obviously we're going to have to do something there. Call me crazy, but I'm still kicking around the idea of an MSD injection system or MSD ignition system with a carburetor intake manifold on this 5.3. I really was kind of set on going fuel injection, but you know, as we keep going along, you know, this is why I wanted to do a mock-up. We can test things out, we can change things as we go and see what we need to do to make this bad boy rip. So anyways, that's going to be it for this video. We made a lot of progress. We got everything in there. I'm really pleased with how this is turning out. Again, this motor is going to come back out, so we still have a ton of work to do to it. We're going to have some head work done to it. We're going to have a bigger cam put in it. We got to do our intake now. And obviously, we got to figure out fuel system, plumbing, wiring. Tons of work, but this is progress. It feels good to see the motor sitting in the car. See what we're going to be dealing with. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Dadgummit, stay good. We'll see you later.